Hi, so I'm back with another programming video, and this is going to be my programming assignment number two. So I have my three files, my header file and my CPP files. So I have a void print menu function, which basically just prints the menu, so I don't have to copy and paste every single time, so it makes it a bit easier. I have my operator overload functions. I made them friends because I feel like, to my understanding, it was a little bit easier for me to understand because I have like the two clocks, and then, yep, it just overloads it. And then these are the add and subtract, and then this is the negation because it only takes in one clock. And then I have my bool operator functions that tell you if it's equals, greater than, or less than. So in my public section, I have my clock default constructor. I have my conversion constructor. I have a two parameter constructor and then a four parameter constructor. Here are my getters, which are all const because we don't want them to change. I have my setters, which basically just mutate. And then I have my reset function, which sets everything to zero. And here are my private variables: seconds, minutes, hours, days. And then going to my definitions, void print menu is just doesn't take in any parameters. It just prints out the list of options you have, and then it asks you to pick a choice, but it doesn't have the CN because I have the CNs right here. Um, and then I have my getters, my setters, my default constructor, which sets everything to zero upon compile time. Um, and then I have my conversion constructor, two parameter constructor definition, and then my four parameter constructor definition, which I used a lot. My OStream operator overload, which basically just gives us the ability to see out what a clock is, and it takes in, or it returns O, which is an object of type OStream. So yeah, it prints it out in days colon, hours colon, minutes colon, seconds. And then I have my reset function, which is a member function, so it can access private variables. And it just resets everything to zero. So for my operator overload for addition, basically what I did is I did the initial math using the four parameter constructor. So the way it goes is, um, for the four parameter, it's seconds, minutes, hours, days. So I set clock C as the seconds added together, minutes added together, hours added together, and then days added together. So I did the initial math, which is going to give you negatives, or it could give you things that are greater than 60 for minutes and seconds, greater than 24 for hours. So then I go ahead and make sure that it's not less than zero. And then I make sure that seconds is great, like not greater than or equal to 60, or minutes is not greater than or equal to 60, and then hours is not greater than or equal to 24. So basically, a synopsis of this is basically just adding, initially adding, and then making sure it's within the bounds of what a clock would be. So can't have more than 60 minutes, can't have more than 60 seconds, more than 60 minutes. So, um, yeah, and then not more than 24 hours, and then it shouldn't be negative because it'll just subtract a minute. Like, for example, if it's negative 60 seconds, you could just um, subtract a minute. So yeah, that's basically what that does. This basically does the exact same thing, except it subtracts it initially, obviously. So um, it subtracts the seconds from each other, the minutes, the hours, and the days, and then it checks if it's too high or too low, and then returns the clock. This is my negation function, operator overload. And basically what it does is just stores the parameter inside this default four parameter, or not default, four parameter constructor. and then it just multiplies each one by -1 to get the to just flip the sign, um, and then return C. And then for my booleans, basically, what I did was create a boolean inside of the function, call it as false, and then it only updates if these conditions are true, and then it returns it. So if all of them are equal to each other, like the seconds match up, the hours, the minutes match up, then it's going to put is equal as true. And then this does the same thing. These, for the greater than and less than, the easiest way for me to do it was just to convert everything to seconds. So that's what I did. Multiplied my days by however many. This is how many seconds in a day, and then there's how many seconds in an hour, and then there's how many seconds in a minute, obviously, and then just add seconds. Um, so if it's greater than b, then it's gonna make is greater true, and then return is greater. And then do the same thing here, but if it's less than, then it's going to put it as true. So that's basically all the definitions. Pretty straightforward. This was a little bit different than what Mills told us to do, or like, because I this just made the most sense to me. Like instead of using the modulus, so I just did whatever made more sense to me. And then for my driver function, I have, or driver, yeah, my driver, I have just initializing a clock, and so that I can gather user input, and then booleans for user input, and then you can type in the first clock, second clock, and then after you type in the clock, it's going to store it into a default constructor, 4 parameter, or not, I keep saying default, it's a 4 parameter constructor. And then, yeah, it'll store the B into a 4 parameter constructor, prints the menu, and then it just gets C in choice, and then it goes into a while loop. So Q means quit. So if they type in Q, it's just not going to run the loop, or if they type it within this, it'll just end the loop. Choices are plus, minus, C, plus obviously for adding, minus for subtracting, C for putting in a new clock or new clocks, N for negation, equals for equals, greater than for greater than, and then less than, and then P for printing the clocks, and then R for resetting. And basically all it does is it just runs the functions. So C equals A plus B, and we've defined A plus B as being an operator overload, because A and B are both clocks, and C is also a clock. So and then it just C out C using the insertion operator. So that's basically what these do. C, obviously you can type in new clocks and stuff, which isn't really even a guideline. I just did it. And also print clock just to make it easier to test. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I have it compiled right here. If I do some annoying numbers like 87, -24, -60, -61, 17, -25, -30, and then 19. So it gives you the menu, and let's say I want to add first. It's 101, 21, 29, 18, and that's, I have it all mapped out, and that's true. If I want to do subtraction, not underscore, subtraction, 70, 0, 28, 40, and we can see that that's true. If I want to do negation, it'll ask me if I want to flip number 1 or 2, and I can go ahead and I'll just do 1. And it sets it, obviously, change, because these 24, 60, and 61 were negative before, so it sets them a positive because it's multiplying by -1, and then 87 becomes negative because it was originally positive. If I want to do equals, they're obviously it's zero because zero meaning false, so they're not equal to each other. If I want to do greater than, one means true, so the first one is greater than the second one. And if we do less than, it'll obviously be false because the first one is greater than, it's not less than. And if I want to reset a clock, um, let's say I want to reset number two. And then if I do P, which is print clocks, you can see that the second one has been reset. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It works. So, thank you for listening.